Fake speedruns are nothing new in Minecraft speedrunning. Due to immense popularity of the game, there have been multiple instances of cheaters trying to shoot up their way to the top of the leaderboards by deliberately faking their runs. As the community is discovering newer methods of detecting fake runs, we have seen many cheaters getting exposed in recent history. In this video, we would be taking a look at some of the most shocking cheating scandals in the history of Minecraft speedrunning.
Oh my god, one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. No way!
Weißt du, was du verpasst hast? Was denn? Den neuen Set-Weltrekord.
On late June 2020, a runner by the name of Drem uploaded a speedrun claiming to beat the Minecraft world record with a time of 19 minutes and 19 seconds. This run already raised some eyebrows, since Drem had no history of personal best, and he claimed to have beaten the world record just 5 days after he got into speedrunning. Let's take a close look at the run. Drem loads up into the seed and immediately starts running to a ruined portal in view. This isn't too surprising, but any good speedrunner would have at least checked the surroundings before making a beeline. He gets his loot from the chest and mines down a tree for wood. Then, he makes his way over to the savannah and immediately spots a shipwreck, which was visible for just about a second. He also spots a lava pool on the way, which was pretty convenient, and soon he loots the ship to make his tools. Then, he makes his way to the plains, instead of the savannah where he was heading earlier, and suddenly a village appears in his render. His routing is really suspicious here, but let's give him the benefit of doubt. He mines a few hay bales for food, trades with a fletcher for arrows, and makes his way to the nether. He spawned in a crimson biome, which is really good for finding piglins, but Drem still makes his way to a nether waste to trade. He falls short of one ender pearl, but kills an enderman to get it. Then, instead of exploring the open terrain near him for fortress, which would obviously be the play, Drem climbs over a hill and stumbles upon another fortress. After obtaining a comfortable amount of blaze rods, he makes a straight path to his home portal, going as far as digging through a wall, which, considering the fact that he didn't thoroughly check the nether, even once, is pretty suspicious. He exits the nether, starts to run in a random direction, before realizing he needs to throw an eye, but the eye conveniently pointed to the direction he was traveling in. Also, his eye breaks, which is a pretty big skill issue.
Oh, come on!
You already know it's one eye. Then, Drem goes in the general direction of the eye, and after traveling for a bit, throws another eye, which points exactly to his left. Amazing triangulation skills that he learned from Dream, as quoted by him. He chooses a random place to dig down, and falls in a mineshaft. Every speedrunner here would inspect the mineshaft for any possible connections to the stronghold. But Drem continues to dig, and soon appears just above the portal room. He enters the end at 1547, and with infamous speedrunner versus hunter music in the background, hunts down the ender dragon, beating the game in 19 minutes and 19 seconds. This run is indeed very suspicious, but there was no hard evidence found in the footage of the run that could confirm any kind of cheats. That is until a small investigation discovered a discrepancy that ultimately confirmed that the run was spliced. When you look up at the world creation screen in the uploaded speedrun, it begins from the center. This loading pattern is actually seed dependent, which means if you load up a seed any number of times, it would always display the same pattern. This pattern itself can have many variations with different seeds, but a single seed would always display the same pattern. For the seed Drem used, the loading screen was supposed to start at the bottom left corner of the screen. But since it began from the center in the uploaded run, we can conclude that this loading screen was of a different world, and the supposed speedrun was simply doctored. Ultimately, Drem was banned from speedrunning, and soon, all of his accounts, along with this supposed world record, was deleted. On August of 2020, a runner by the name of Otis submitted a run that claimed to be a world record. There was nothing suspicious at the run, and soon it was verified and put on the leaderboards. Proof standards were more lenient back then, so the moderators did not initially ask for more proof, such as world files or full footage. A week after that, a runner by the name of Kiran, who was a close real-life friend of Otis, uploaded a world record as well. In stark contrast to Otis, Kiran's run was highly suspicious. Kiran was not a top-level speedrunner, as evident by his playstyle. On top of that, some of the other aspects of the run were highly suspicious. Kiran loaded up into the world, finds a lava pool, and stumbles upon a village. We immediately see a lack of skill, as Kiran is crafting the tools. He doesn't use hotkeys at all, and is overall very slow in crafting. He grabs a few beds, and for unknown reasons, decides to dig a few blocks. If you watch speedrunning, you know this is extremely weird, since there's no reason for digging up blocks in a Minecraft speedrun. The reason for this becomes evident when Kiran finds a gravel patch while clearing the blocks. Kiran then goes back to the lava pool, makes up the nether portal with a very unconventional setup, and enters the nether. He spawns near a fortress, but decides to trade for the ender pearls first. He gets all his trades fairly quickly, and then kill the blazes to get 7 rods out of 9 kills. He gets out of the nether under 10 minutes, and after traveling for about 5 minutes, finds an exposed stronghold. The stronghold navigation is even more strange, but he ends up finding the portal room, and entering the end at 15 minutes. He waits up for the dragon to perch. After getting a diagonal perch, he killed the dragon with an axe, and finished off the run at 18:24. This run was clearly very fishy, so the Minecraft moderation team decided to investigate the run further. Soon, a runner by the name of CrafterDark discovered a discrepancy that proved a splice. When Kiran loaded up a world, there was a bucket in his hand at the first few frames. This is a pretty common bug in the game, where you get the last item you held in the previous world on the first few frames of loading up into a newer one. The problem is that we can clearly see that the previous world didn't even generate a thumbnail from Kiran's world list. There was no way to acquire a bucket in his previous world, which proved that Kiran had basically spliced it. Kiran also acted very suspicious while talking to the moderators, and soon went on to delete his runs, and disappeared forever. Kiran's run was rejected, but now the moderators had a new perspective on Otis' supposed world record. Since Otis had close connections with Kiran, the moderators decided to revisit his run. For further proof, the moderation team decided to ask Otis for the world files of his run. After a few hours, Otis replied that he had deleted his world files, as well as the full run recording. To Otis' defense, his run was already verified, so he might have deleted it without giving it a much thought. Also, unlike Kiran, there was nothing too suspicious about Otis' runs, and his mechanics were of a top-level runner. But, at the same time, Otis had a very strong connection to a known cheater, was pretty new to Minecraft speedrunning, and had similar progression as Kiran. He was also not able to provide enough proof for legitimacy of his run, so the moderators decided to remove his run, for lack of evidence. To this day, it remains a mystery whether Otis' run was cheated or not. Otis maintains it was not faked, but probably, we will never know. The next case in the list is probably one of the most infamous cheating scandal in Minecraft history. On October of 2020, a speedrunner by the name of Minecravenger presented the data he collected from 6 consecutive live streams by a popular YouTuber Drem. This data suggested that across these streams, Drem got significantly high pearl drop rates than their expected values. This prompted a very thorough investigation, after which, the Minecraft moderation team calculated Drem's odds to be extremely unlikely. Drem claimed that the data collected was biased, and argued that the investigation was faulty. Even after correcting these supposed biases, to an extent that the team was essentially biasing in favor of Drem's odds just didn't add up. It was almost impossible to get this luck in vanilla Minecraft. The moderators were almost certain that the run was illegitimate, as his luck was astronomically improbable, and since Drem was unable to provide any evidence for his innocence, his 1.16 speedrun was removed from the leaderboards. But Drem continued to maintain that his speedrun was legitimate. The Minecraft moderation team faced a huge backlash for this decision. Drem hired an astrophysicist who carried out a separate investigation, and even they did believe that the odds were extremely unlikely, but presented a well-lower number than the one presented by the moderators. After the dust had settled, and most people just decided to move on from the situation, Drem uploaded an apology, accepting that he unknowingly used a mod that modified the loot table. He claimed that he was unintentionally using a mod that was meant to be used for content creation, and didn't realize it, since he regularly changed the content of his mods folder. While this is totally reasonable, it indicates that Drem knew about this possibility for a while, but never mentioned it publicly. Intentional or not, one thing was for sure, that Drem was running a modified version of the game at the time of his runs, and hence the moderator's decision was correct, and they truly deserve some praise for it. On the other hand, while Drem may have not realized that he was modifying his game initially, it was his responsibility to make sure that he wasn't using anything illegal while doing his runs. In November 2020, a speedrunner by the name of Speedrun Legend achieved a time of 13 minutes and 45 seconds, which was world record at that time. This speedrun, apart from being blatantly faked, was pretty hilarious, mostly due to the post-commentary by the legend himself. The video starts with Speedrun Legend explaining why he got the run a while ago, but decided to upload it a week later.
The reason why I didn't post the video immediately after I did the world record is because when I started this YouTube channel, I wanted not just this channel just to be this one speedrunner, that's it. I want this to be an actual channel with actual consistent uploads. So I have a bunch of videos on deck that I'm ready to post. I had to get all those set up, and now this is the actual world record seed, the one we're on right now.
Anyways, the run begins with a village spawn, where Speedrun Legend explains his genius thought process, while gathering beds, iron, a stack of bread, and getting a flint. After traveling for a bit, he finds a lava pool, and gives us an idea of his future YouTube plans.
This channel is not only gonna be just this one little speed run, you know, like some people do. They just make the YouTube channel just to do the speed run and that's it. This is gonna be like a consistent channel with different types of uploads. So that's what I'm hoping this is gonna like launch my YouTube channel.
Then, after entering the nether, he mines a few gold blocks, and finds a fortress in very close proximity. After some suboptimal movement to say the least, he finds a blaze spawner, and going an excellent 7 for 7 on blaze rods, he leaves the fortress. This isn't even too surprising for him, as in his own words, he is a very fortunate person. After finding a few piglins, and getting 12 ender pearls in just a few trades, Speedrun Legend exits the nether at 7 minutes. He then throws an eye, goes in the general direction, and while traveling to the stronghold, takes his time to explain his genius strategy of finding the strongholds.
I check my F3 coordinates, and as I'm checking, the strongholds, if you don't know, tend normally to be from like 1,500 below to 2,000 above. So I'm keeping mind of my X, Y, and Z coordinates to see, you know, if I'm near the fortress. Yeah, so I was saying this channel is not just going to be one single video and then that's it. You can actually follow my Twitch, Speedrun Legend. I'm actually going for a set seed world record on there. That's what I'm trying to go for. And yeah, so you can follow my Twitch. Its link is in the description. Subscribe.
Then, after traveling a bit, Speedrun Legend throws 2 ender eyes instead of 1. Now if you are an average Minecraft speedrunner, with intellect nowhere near Speedrun Legend, you'll think it's unnecessary. But I believe it's some kind of super secret method used by him to find the exact stronghold location. Because he just throws 1 more eye, and digs right at a cave connecting to stronghold. After executing a perfect jump while identifying the stronghold in a split second, he beelines to the portal room. Entering the end at 12 minutes, Speedrun Legend goes on to explain how even after being extremely nervous, due to the insane potential of the run, he clutches up the world record.
The end fight was really bad. Look, I'm doing so bad, like I'm choking because I'm nervous. I was already choking all of my things and stuff, but the Ender Dragon perched so fast. The run was trash. Look, and as of right now, you can see the Ender Dragon's going up. He's about to perch, and I know that. Boom, right there. This was insane. I'm super nervous. I'm literally choking. I'm like nervous, and my hands are twitching and stuff. Literally. The end fight was so bad, but the dragon perched so fast. And I'm messing up all on my beds. And normally I can do a 6 cycle or a 5 cycle. I screwed up that one bed. And it's fine. And I'm so nervous. I'm literally shaking. I'm so happy. Oh my god. I literally been at this for like a month.
This run by Speedrun Legend was definitely faked. A runner unknown to everyone suddenly surfaced with a world record run to kickstart his YouTube channel. It does not make sense. While the moderators tried to find an evidence for the run being fake, the run was rejected for a reason as simple as an illegal texture pack the runner was using, which gave him an unfair visual advantage. Speedrun Legend deleted his video and vanished from everywhere, and his YouTube channel and Twitch never took off. Much like most cases in the list, the next speedrun was done by a completely unknown speedrunner, BigTony. This isn't his actual name, but since the speedrun community decided to not let him gain free attention for this run, I'll be using this name. The video begins with BigTony resetting a swamp seed, and we can clearly see he is using Optifin, which is a banned mod for 1.16+, which already makes his run unverifiable, and shows that this guy has no knowledge about speedrunning rules. Then, BigTony loads up into a village seed, and instantly turns to his left with no hesitation, and finds a blacksmith. After making a really poor choice of making an axe and hoe with the iron in the blacksmith, he is rewarded with another one, with even more iron and 12 obsidian. How convenient. After going to a nearby ruined portal, finding a looting sword and a light, he completes it and enters the nether at 121. After randomly changing some setting, and opening and closing the F3 menu, for God knows why, he beelines to the bastion. Before routing the bastion, he changes his graphics to fancy. BigTony's genius is on full display here. He changed the graphics to fancy, so the gold looks shinier, and the piglins give him better trade. After trading all his stuff, he has literally everything he can ask for, along with a whopping 32 obsidian. His fortress was like, really bad. For most of the part, it looked like an all bosses speedrun, due to the amount of wither skeletons he was killing. After he realized that killing the withers won't give him any blaze rods, he goes on to kill some blazes. What even is the use of looting, if you spend a full 2 minutes in the fortress? Then he goes in a very specific spot, builds up his blind portal, and is ready to exit the nether. He has 32 obsidian, which means he can calculate the location of stronghold, and have better hopes of finding it. But he is BigTony, so instead, he just blinds right at the portal room, which is exceedingly rare, and almost never happens in random seed speedruns. But considering how the whole run played out, is clearly faked. He fills in the eyes, and enters the end at 7:47. After getting a decent perch, and struggling to one-cycle the ender dragon, even with 7 beds, BigTony finishes the run. This run just worse all the cases that we have seen, on how blatantly fake it was. Even a casual Minecraft player can tell, that BigTony had no idea of what they were doing. It was almost instantly deemed illegitimate, and the evidence isn't even that difficult for a casual player to spot. Take a close look at his loading screen. This is obvious to everyone, that this run was simply spliced, because his cursor randomly teleports to another location, which isn't supposed to happen. BigTony sucks not only at Minecraft, but video editing as well. Needless to say, this run was rejected, and made its name for one of the most blatantly fake run we have ever seen. Unlike the other cheaters that we have seen, next one is a bit interesting. It all started when a runner with the name of Flowbee started getting consistent top times. Not too surprising, as Flowbee was a decently good speedrunner, with good knowledge of the game. Due to this, nobody really suspected anything until much later. Flowbee's run had nothing much suspicious on the surface, but there were some extremely subtle details, which when combined with the speed with which he was achieving top times, did not make much sense. The run which would ultimately lead to him being caught, was an 8:20 portal room uncompleted run, due to lack of ender pearls. This run was highly suspicious from the beginning. Flowbee starts the run with an ocean spawn, with a shipwreck, and a ruined portal at a distance. He loots the chest and gets 10 iron, completely ignores the food chest, and makes his way to the nether through the ruined portal. He arrays to the bastion, and beelines to it, while not checking his surroundings much. After finding a stable's bastion, he obtains all his trades, and leaves the bastion with only 10 pearls, only 3 explosives, and fire resistance of 424. Out of the only 10 pearls he got, he uses one to travel to the fortress, and reaches a 5-minute mark. Then, he makes an interesting decision, by not going to his left to check more fortress, and instead beeline to the blaze spawner through a dead end. The main reason behind this, is the fact that there was another spawner to the left, and if Flowbee would have blinded there, the eyes would have pointed at a completely different non-exposed stronghold. After obtaining a few blaze rods, Flowbee knocks the last blaze off the platform, and after killing it, obtains his 6th rod. Since he was at good blind coordinates, he should blind right here. But instead, Flowbee goes back to the spawner, and builds his portal up there. The reason behind this, is something termed as overcommitment to scouted rod. Flowbee had probably routed this seed beforehand, and always built his portal at this specific spot, and hence was unable to improvise, when the situation changed. After calculating the stronghold position, Flowbee exits the nether, but hardly tries to follow the angle of the eye he got. After returning to the overworld, he spots an exposed stronghold, and instead of trying to figure out its layout, or try to find an exposed portal room, he decides to just shake his mouse, to let us know how surprised he was. After entering the stronghold, Flowbee puts himself on 3rd person, spots the portal room in a fraction of a second, and upon finding the portal didn't have enough eyes, he ends the run. This run was very suspicious, after which the moderators asked Flowbee for the logs, and upon inspection, it was found that he had scouted and spliced his run, with 3 different segments. Flowbee published an apology, claiming he cheated the 8:20 portal room, but all his other runs were legit. Flowbee said that he was on a call with Minecraft verifier Crystal, and he randomly rolled the seed, but choked it due to less food. But when Crystal asked about the run, he was too embarrassed to tell them. Instead, they just said that he didn't get enough pearls, and was unable to enter the end. Crystal asked Flowbee to upload the run, to which he agreed, and decided to fake his run, to prove it. However, this raised some serious doubts regarding his other runs, and all the eyes were on his other personal bests. In most of these runs, Flowbee's reset efficiency was terrible. He was forcing through bad overworlds, and entering godlike nethers. His overcommitment to scouted rot was seen in more runs, like in his 1132, where he completely ignores killing blazes, while mining the bastion gold, even getting hit by them. He somehow always beelined to the structures, without checking his surroundings much. The calculation of the stronghold location never made much sense. In one instance, Flowbee even got the angles that were diverging, instead of converging as they should, but still nailed the stronghold blind. He hardly tries to keep the angle, and just uses calculator as an excuse for double traveling to stronghold. But there was no hard evidence, so moderators could not do anything. It was until a Minecraft speedrunner Ninja Brain noticed a discrepancy. While speedrunning, players would often use a macro to reset their worlds. Flowbee was using a macro to reset as well, but upon closer inspection, it was found that Flowbee's macro contained 2 extra clicks. The frames corresponding to those clicks were also removed from the run footage, as evident by the timer. This meant that Flowbee had added 2 extra commands for the macro, clicking more world options, and injecting the seed, which were later removed from the video. Flowbee later confessed to cheating in all of his runs, and with this, the speedrun community succeeded in catching yet another cheater. On October of 2022, perhaps one of the most shocking cheating scandal came to light. A runner who had been a respected member of the community for over 2 years, had held multiple world records in several categories, was exposed for cheating. This is the story of Minecravenger, who managed to fly under the radar for years. You might remember him as the first person to publicly provide the evidence that Dream cheated in his speedruns, and in an unexpected turn of events, it was discovered that he was a cheater, just like him. On November of 2020, Minecravenger got the 1.16 set seed glitchless world record, with a time of 2:21. In set seed speedruns, runners attempt a single seed over and over again to achieve the best possible time. While this does eliminate the seed RNG, there's still a lot that needs to get right for a run to have world record potential. Minecravenger's supposed world record was huge, because everything in this run was just perfect. He got the best possible spawn, got Dolphin's Grace to travel to the portal quicker, and in the end, got the fastest ever dragon perch that we have seen. In set seed runs, the dragon perch kills most of the world record paces. The time dragon takes to perch is completely random, and a world record perch needs hundreds of resets. Minecravenger's perch was the fastest we had seen, as it took only 21 seconds for the dragon to initiate its perch phase. At that time, the community did not have much knowledge about the dragon behavior, and everyone just assumed that Minecravenger got lucky. However, as the community started studying the game's code to figure out the dragon behavior, Eric's perch seemed more and more impossible. It was believed that the dragon cannot perch faster than 23 seconds, and even after running hundreds of thousands of simulations, the dragon never came even close to Minecravenger's perch. This wasn't concrete evidence, but it's the next best thing. In September of 2022, Minecravenger was doing some 1.15 set seed glitchless speedruns on stream. On this version, the chest loot is always scrambled, determined by something known as loot seed, unlike the other versions, where the chest loot is determined by world seed. Which means it doesn't matter how many times you load up the same seed, you will almost always get different loot each time from the same chest. For 1.15 SSG speedruns, runners needed to obtain at least 20 obsidian to enter the nether and travel to the stronghold through the nether. There was only 1 in 479 chance to obtain this many obsidian, which made the category extremely reset heavy. However, during his streams, Minecravenger was getting far too lucky on the chest loots, getting 796 obsidian from 290 chests, a probability of 1 in 28 billion. This was already convincing enough that Minecravenger had cheated, but the Minecraft speedrunning community was able to provide even more concrete proof. As I mentioned earlier, the chest loot in version 1.15 was determined by loot seed, and there were a total of 281 trillion loot seeds. So the community succeeded in creating a program that could check all the loot seeds and determine if Minecravenger's chest loot was possible to obtain on an unmodded client. And surely enough, it was found that 2 of his chests were impossible to obtain in vanilla Minecraft. One of which, coincidentally, was in the world record speedrun. It was proven beyond doubt that Minecravenger had altered the loot he got from the chest. It was found that he used this same method to cheat on his former world record in 1.14 on the old seed. When Minecravenger finally came clean, he explained in details how he cheated in his runs. It was believed one of the first cheated speedruns by him were his 2 1.14 personal bests and a sub-3 world record. First run was a 3 minute and 15 second speedrun where he spliced the end split, and he did not do a great job in covering it up. Unfortunately, this wasn't caught at that time, so the cheating continued. On his next sub-3 world record, Minecravenger essentially played a perfect run till blinding to the stronghold, and then created multiple copies of the world, played the end split until he got the perfect perch, and stitched the end split together. This was pretty much undetectable, but you could barely make out when the splice occurred. The next cheated speedrun was his 1.16 RSG personal best, which had a splice at the loading screen as his mouse cursor jumps to another location. Also, the seed he claimed to roll randomly was visible on his world list just before world creation. His 1.16 SSG speedrun was also cheated with a data pack that gave him all the luck he would need, such as dolphin spawn near the portal, and the infamous 22-second dragon perch. After a new faster seed was discovered in version 1.17, which required runners to mine gravel for flint, Minecravenger attempted this after increasing flint drop rates and dragon perch time, giving him a personal best. After that, he cheated in 1.8 set seed speedrun, where the dragon charges at you, instead of perching. For this end fight, runners have to blow up the end crystal while the dragon is charging at them, and it takes at least 3 charges with well-timed crystal explosion to kill the dragon. Hence, the frequency of dragon charge matters a lot, so Minecravenger modded the game to get faster charges, with a grace period to get ender pearls, and pearl to the end crystal faster, increased damage dealt to ender dragon, and cheated his way to a world record of 237 in pre-1.9 version. Odds of his luck with the end split was about 1 in 562 trillion, as calculated by Eliotex. This was shocking. All of the world records by Minecravenger were nothing but lies. But at the same time, Minecravenger coming forward and confessing about the cheats, including the ones that weren't even caught, even providing the mod he used, was a good thing, as it helped the community in improving the verification process, and avoid such instances in future. The pre-1.9 speedrun community faced yet another cheating scandal recently. On April of 2019, a runner by the name of NikoCraft uploaded an SSGP speedrun with a time of 3:59, which for some reason got 11 million views on YouTube. The run was soon put on the leaderboards, as there was nothing suspicious on the surface. On March of 2022, he achieved another SSGP world record with a time of 2:46. In SSGP speedruns, the route is essentially the same as SSG, but the runner is on peaceful mode, which allows for some unique optimizations. In this run, NikoCraft used some TNT blocks to cross the river, but when he finished the run and came back to the overworld, the TNT blocks had simply vanished. This could theoretically take place with a chunk bug, but it's insanely unlikely to happen in this situation. So the community decided to discover more proof, and soon they found undeniable evidence. When NikoCraft starts his run, the cloud pattern looks like this, with a noticeable P-shaped cloud. When NikoCraft returns to the overworld, the cloud pattern completely changes, and instead we see an F-shaped cloud. In Minecraft, cloud moves slowly, so there is no way the pattern should change by this much. This F-shaped cloud was several hundred blocks from the spawn, and it would take more than 20 minutes for the clouds to move this much. But NikoCraft's run was less than 3 minutes in length, which suggested that he had spliced the end of the run. This drew attention to his infamous 3:59 speedrun, set 4 years ago. However, this time, it was a bit harder to find any evidence, since NikoCraft had ended the video at the end credits, which was allowed at that time. But a player by the name of CrafterDark provided an evidence that proved beyond doubt that this run was faked as well. In peaceable mode, you can't lose your hunger, but the saturation effect, which decides how quickly your hunger runs down, does reduce over time. When the saturation bar is empty, the hunger bar starts to shake at an interval of 3.1 seconds. This means that after a certain amount of time, the saturation goes to 0, and the hunger bar would shake every 3 seconds for the entirety of the run. But in NikoCraft's speedrun, after entering the end, the hunger bar seemed to stop completely, for over 34 seconds. The team lit through whole SSGP leaderboards, and in all of those runs, the hunger bar did shake after an interval of 3 seconds. So long story short, both runs by NikoCrafts were cheated, and removed from leaderboards. Niko published a statement, which was probably the worst apology that I have seen. He claims to have faked the run as a fun side project, to bring more attention to Minecraft speedrunning, and he thinks he is the reason for the popularity of MC. But anyways, Niko runs were motivation to many pre-1.9 players including me, but cheating a run just to give this category a popularity boost seems like a pretty terrible cover-up. Minecraft speedrunning is a community built on trust. While all these cheating scandals, especially the newer ones, may seem like a cause of concern, it is rather an indication that cheat detection is improving in the community, as more and more records of the past are being caught. There are still a few more recent cases that I haven't discussed here, and in the next coming months, there are going to be a lot more exposes. The proof standards now are a lot better than they used to be, and it's not going to be an easy task to get away with fake speedruns. Cheating in any kind of competitive space is not a good thing. One thing that we learn from this is to respect the alleged speedrunners who have spent countless hours on the game to beat even these cheated times. Whatever the reason for cheating is, it's never justified. There are still probably a lot of cheated runs in the leaderboards, but this would change very soon. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon.